can we find the various forms of contract? There are several organizations which offer but copyrighted forms of contract. There are sources of forms of contract. These sources are organizations situated globally, and they provide or actually sell these forms. They are better sources of the latest versions of contract forms, which reduces the incidence of disputes. Latest version means that it is the product of continual improvements. Contracts, when executed, may show deficiencies, some critical errors or omissions, difficulty to execute, vague, or any other reasons for it to be effectively executable. Therefore, as a document sort of living, it is studied and updated by the source organization, namely the EIA, American Institute of Architects, the ICC, International Chamber of Commerce, NEC, New Engineering Contract, JCT, Joint Contract Tribunal, usually in Commonwealth countries, FIDIC, International Federation of Consulting Engineers, the English translation of the Swiss-French definition. There are actually several sources. Those I mentioned are popular sources, and I will show some examples of the titles of their forms of contract.
Design Bid Build example. FIDIC Red Book 2017. Conditions of Contract for Construction, 2nd edition 2017, for building and engineering works designed by the employer. AIA, American Institute of Architects. Standard form of agreement between the owner and contractor. General conditions of the contract for construction as approved and endorsed by AGCA.
Another example of Design Bid Build procurement, NEC, New Engineering Contract with 5 primary options. Price contract or fixed price. Option A, with activity schedule. Option B, with bill of quantities. Target contract. Option C, with activity schedule. Option D, with bill of quantities. The target contract is capped with the maximum price. With target price lower than the cap, then savings from cap are shared between owner and constructor. Option E, cost reimbursable contract or cost plus. An example of the design build procurement source, the FIDIC Yellow Book 2017. Conditions of contract for plant and design build, 2nd edition 2017, for electrical and mechanical plant and for building and engineering works designed by the contractor. ICC model. Model for turnkey supply of an industrial plant contract. Model for major project turnkey contract.
An example of management contract. NEC, New Engineering Contract. Option F, management contract. JCT, Joint Contract Tribunal. MC 2005, Standard Form of Management Contract. Construction Management, JCT, CMTC 2008, CMA/A 2008.
Inputs, terminologies under procurement of contracts. Terminologies used in contracts are technical terms and commercial terms. Let us start with technical terms. Are there uniform contract terminologies? Terminologies used in construction contract follow the industry uniform definitions.
The technical term scope of work specifically defines the works to be done: design, procurement, construction, and startup under a single procurement method of design build and package deal or turnkey contract, or engineer, procure, and construct. Performance guarantees exactly define how the facility will perform as to function, ability, reliability, utilization, other criteria. The constructor will rectify the facility at its expense until the specified performance conditions are met.
Engineering warranties. Warranties that cover the detailed design work. Warranty rather than guarantee means that the design firm corrects any error in its plans and specifications at its own cost. Professional indemnity insurance may cover the cost of correction due from faulty design.
Equipment warranties. An X years guarantee for materials and workmanship, usually 1 year, and issued by the vendors of equipment or materials. The constructor passes the guarantee to the owner on any equipment and materials purchased by the constructor. Schedule guarantees usually exist in schedule performance through incentives, penalty clause in a variety of contract formats. In the absence of incentive or penalty clause, the contract includes a clause, time is of the essence, or best efforts to complete.
Responsibilities of both owner and constructor define any obligation beyond those specified in the detailed scope of work. These are contained in DCC or SCC. Owner supplies by certain dates, project design basis, with design build. Property survey, a critical requirement. You may be constructing in others' properties. Government approval, as in clearances and permissions. OSM, owner supplied material. Job progress is affected if not timely delivered.
Site safety and security. Contractual conditions obligating the constructor to conform with owners and regulatory requirements pertaining to safety and security in the site. The clause sets the minimum standards for the contractor's site safety program and the security liabilities. Some of the common commercial terms, type of contract, and the fees. Clear statement in the final agreement as to the basis of fees and payment terms. Lump sum work clearly states that all costs, overheads, and profits for performing the scope of work are included in the contract price.
Payment terms. With you, as the constructor, you should be more interested in getting paid. Practically, receiving the payments timely and rightly. Cash flow, as it is a major business challenge, and I doubt only a few good businesses do not have cash issues. This defines how money flows from the owner to the constructor. Owner pays the constructor based on progress or earned value. The contract states the scheduled earned value. We will discuss earned value later. Your take on earned value. You need to be familiar about how this becomes a performance matter in construction projects. There must be enough work in place or completed to justify payment.
Limits of liability. Liability clause places limit on any liabilities assumed by either party to the contract. Either party may request a limit of liability clause to cover any costs not covered by insurance.
Suspension and termination clause protects the interests of both the owner and constructor when suspension or termination of work becomes necessary. Either party may suspend or terminate the work for costs, subject to the specific provisions in the contract.
Continuing with suspension and termination clause. Some grounds for suspension and or termination of work: bankruptcy of constructor or non-payment by owner, force majeure, or fortuitous events, contractor's failure to correct unsafe condition, adjust plans to suit field conditions found needed during construction, perform provisions of the contract. Force majeure, old standard clause in all construction contracts which gives the constructor certain rights to excuse delay owing to matters beyond his control. Conditions such as labor shortage, strikes, work slowdowns, called acts of man are often included.
Insurance and bonding. The owner and constructor are insured against potential casualty losses that can occur mainly during construction. Here are some of the widely used insurance coverages: construction all risks, CAR, and contractors all risks, I term as COAR. Contractors all risk insurance is usually required from constructors. Some owners apply for construction all risks to cover the construction risks as the construction progresses. The progress in project means paid progress, and this construction in progress spending must be assured. Comprehensive General Liability, CGL. Erection All Risk, EAR. Special Risk Insurance or Equipment Floaters. Bonds are assured by surety or insurance companies acceptable to the owner. Insurance explanation. There are risks in construction. Can be internal or external. These are injury to person or worse, death, and damage to property on or off the site. When any of these happen, there is a loss. Thus, this loss and its value can be the sum insured. You have a building construction. The owner may have it covered with construction all risks. Remember, the owner releases money for every progress with construction. As hazardous activity, anything can happen, and if something happens, a loss is incurred. Constructor applies for contractor all risks as required by owner for the potential loss it may cause the owner while into the construction progress. Comprehensive General Liability, CGL, is also required by the owner or by the constructor to cover for losses and expenditures arising from injury, death, or damage to properties. EAR, Equipment All Risks, to cover for costs of damages to equipment or damage to owner's property caused by the installation, movement, or activities related to equipment. The equipment is not construction equipment, but machine that become part of a building like elevators, gensets, etc. Special risk insurance for tower cranes, suspended platforms, heavy equipment, and the like. For assurances, there are people you can seek insurance advices.
Bid bond government contracts.
Relative to the ABC approved budget for the contract, tendered, published, or advertised, the value of the bond issued in the form of monetary instruments are
A. Cash, manager's cashier's check or irrevocable letter of credit or bank drafts, 1% of ABC. B. Bank guarantee, 1.5% of ABC. C. Surety bond, 2.5 of ABC.
performance bond relating to government contracts. A bonding company warrants that the constructor finishes the work or the bonding company takes over through other constructors to finish the remaining works. The bond value of coverage are A. Cash, manager's check, or irrevocable LC, letter of credit, or bank draft, 5% of total contract price. B. Bank guarantee, 10% of total contract price. C. Surety bond, 30% of total contract price.
Payment bond, protection of the owner against the constructor not paying bills due from its suppliers or subcontractors. In the contract, the owner may not release payment of more than 90% of total contract price unless the payment bond is issued to the owner.
With liens are preconditions to final payment and or release of retention monies. Constructor may release the work from any attached legal liens of unpaid obligations to all its suppliers. Proofs of payment and certification by constructor submitted to the owner, or payment or indemnity bond may be furnished to cover the unpaid amounts.
Liens, example, for valued consideration, the receipt and sufficiency of which is hereby recognized, the undersigned contractor hereby waives, discharges, and releases any and all liens, claims, and rights to liens against the above-mentioned project, and any and all funds of the owner appropriated or available for the construction of the said project. Stressing, contractor hereby waives, discharges, and releases any and all liens, claims, and rights to liens, against the above-mentioned project.
Arbitration. Clause stating that both parties agree to submit contractual disputes to arbitration. In the Philippines, Construction Industry Authority Commission, a neutral group, sets up a tribunal of 3 members from existing panels of experienced arbitrators. Another terminology, subcontracts. This is a clause stating the owner's policy on subcontracting parts of the work, normally specialty trades. In general contracted work, we have subcontract 1, then subcontract 2 to subcontract N. The clause states that all subcontracted works shall require owner's approvals. Work results. The next topic under inputs to contract administration. Work results have activities, progress reporting, cost and schedule, quality compliance, regulatory compliance. Let's tackle progress reporting. Before some other things, let me ask a question. Which project constraints are critical deliverables? Project deliverables are time, cost, quality, and compliances. Work results confirm the extent of project deliverables with regards to percentage completion, costs incurred, earned versus schedule of values. Schedule of earned values are defined in the contract. Extent of meeting standards of quality and compliance. Progress reporting, a requirement by the owner and very important as internal reporting of the constructor. This is reporting on cost, actual versus plan, and the constructor's fees. The graph is premised on x-axis earned value and y-axis percent completion. The blue curve is the S-curve representing the planned values. This S-curve is based on the plan aligned with the owner's S-curve. In reality, this planned S-curve represents the constructor's planned spending. Along the x-axis is plotted the month equivalent of the percent completion. And we are at month 2, which is scheduled at 40% complete. The green S-curve represents the actual spending from start date to month 2, or scheduled 40% completion. The planned value of the constructor at this 40% completion is 38%. The actual value or the current spending is 46%, which is 8% more than the planned spending and 6% more than the scheduled 40% completion. Is this good management by the constructor? Not really as bad. Ideally, project spending should be on target. The 40% completion is the basis of progress payment subject to the contract terms. Going back to 46%, not good and a bit bad. The 8% overspending from the planned value of 38% use up money resources. And to make the situation uncomfortable financially wise, the constructor will only be paid 40%. Put the amount in project in millions to billions. 6 to 8% is a lot of impact to financing. Explaining further, I will present the report Cost Actual versus Plan in the format of Microsoft Project. There are many project management softwares in the market you can use. And this example is not in any way endorsing a product. My experience is always with MS Project. What you are seeing is a Gantt chart showing performances of a project translated to peso values. Remember, this tool has this feature and is not limited to schedules only. In this chart, the report was generated at the date October 12, 2014. With the data inputted in the software, we have the actual earned values, EV, of 42%, calculated from earned value of 285 pesos over budget at completion, 670 pesos. And the elapsed time in project of 65% derived from the actual days of 7.8 over total project duration of 12 days. There are so many information that can be presented in this project too.
Quality compliance verifies that the project follows the contract requirements of QA procedures, QC program and policy, day-to-day compliance and performance. Periodic assessments are done as defined and or needed. Continuing quality compliance, monitoring of specific results to determine compliance to relevant quality standards, identifying and executing ways to eliminate cause of unsatisfactory results. Two major quality control systems. First, testing. Second, inspection. Stages. First, receiving. Second, construction. Three, final. In principle, regulatory compliance is described as follows. The project aligns, complies to regulations like statutes and ordinances, orders, decisions, and administrative rules. With regulators, these entities I already explained: industrial park, ecozones, and others. Non-compliances are issues and resolved accordingly.
Here is another question for you. When will the constructor be paid in construction projects? A good constructor organizes itself to be paid timely for the scheduled earned values. Taking another input to contract administration, expenditures. Activities under expenditures are categories of payment, payment request package, schedule of payment. Let's have categories of payment to start with.
Categories of payments are specified in the commercial terms and the procedures, such as routine, as defined in the basic contract, changes to contract, change orders, claims, and amendments to contract, reimbursement, measurement, or cost reimbursement contract. Progress payments are monthly based and in accordance to the contract schedule of values. Payment request package. The site management procedures state the requisites necessary to process payment requests. In an application for payment, the following are compiled: sworn statement of payment to suppliers, lien waivers, sign on ability to place lien, updated project time schedule, all works, backup data of payroll, receipts, rents, if reimbursement or measurement contracts. Earned value records of each work segment are matched with the contract terms. Progress payments are reviewed against front-end loaded schedule of values per agreed format using ECB, elemental cost breakdown, derived from WBS, work breakdown structure. In your earnest to be paid, let us understand WBS. Elements of the WBS are the basis of payment. Critical step where all works are clearly defined by breaking down the major works in the program of works into their smallest components. We have the program of works, and within the program of works are major works, and in the major works are divisions. The major works can be broken down to work item 1, work item 2, work item N. All of these are work packages. As much as possible, each work item can be measured, monitored, and controlled. That is WBS, which is used as reference for ECB, Elemental Cost Breakdown. An illustration of reference code. The Elemental Cost Breakdown table, let me get to you to 0D Building, CSA, and Services. Under 0D is 0D3 Administration Building. That is how the breakdown is charted. 0D Building, CSA, and Services breakdown in details. 0D 3.2 Building, CSA, and Services down to Administration Building, down to Mechanical. We have the code and area headings of an ECB reference code table. Code 0A refers to land up to code 0E out of fence, and so on. Locating building, CSA, and services, the code is 0D. Breaking down to sub-area, we have
0D1 factory building, 0D2 canteen, and 0D3 administration building, and so on. Locating the administration building, the code is 0D3. Breaking down to sub area, we have 0D3.1 CSA, 0D3.2 mechanical, and so on. Locating the mechanical, the code is 0D3.2. And this code number 0D3.2 refers to building, CSA and services, administration building, and mechanical.
ECB in Uniformat 2 illustration. Standard classification for building elements and related site work, provided for by ASTM E1557-02. Classification system based on building systems and assemblies, coordinated with master format and expanded to third level WBS. Classification of building elements per ASTM E1557-97. Level 1. Major group elements with elements A. Substructure, and B. Shell, and so on. Level 2. Group elements with elements A10 foundation, A20 basement construction, and B10 superstructure, B20 exterior closure, B30 roofing, and so on. Level 3. Individual element with elements A10-10 standard foundation, A10-20 special foundation, A10-30 slab, so on to B30-10 roof coverings, B30-20 roof openings, and so on. To highlight a specific breakdown, say Level 1A substructure, Level 2A 10 foundation, Level 3A 10-10 standard foundation. Further breakdown can happen to Level 4 work sub-elements, then to Level 5 work packages, up to Level 6 work items. Going down at this level allows better management.
Cost viewpoints. After showing you WBS, work breakdown structure, and ECB, elemental cost breakdown, I would like to explain how costs are viewed by the owner and constructor. The levels in the work breakdown structure in a project are represented as Level 1, facility, Level 2, contract package, Level 3, functional elements, Level 4, sub-elements, Level 5, work package, Level 6, work items with labor, material, equipment, and subcontract. The owner views the costs at levels 3 and 4 as elemental cost breakdown. The constructor views the costs at levels 5 and 6 as cost account. Take note of the viewpoints because these define how the owner and constructor manage costs and payments.
Cost viewpoints illustration 1. A presentation of the work breakdown structure of a project. In a project X, Level 1 facility, buildings, on-site utilities, site work, and so on. Level 2 contract package, warehouse building, maintenance building, administration building, underground electrical, water system, paving surface, grading, drainage, and so on. The blue downward arrows represent continued breakdown. Level 3 functional element, showing specific breakdown of administration building to electrical, mechanical, structural, and architectural, showing also specific breakdown of paving surface, drives, and parking. Further breakdown is still possible. Level 4 sub-element, showing specific breakdown of the structural to foundation and shell. Further breakdown is still possible. Level 5 work package, showing breakdown of the shell to several work packages. Each work packages can still be broken down to the lowest practical levels of level 6 work item. The work breakdown structure as
Highlighted in orange displays the levels from Project X down to Level 5 work packages to Level 6 work items. Levels 3 and 4 are the owner's viewpoint, the elemental cost breakdown. Levels 5 and 6 are the constructor's viewpoint, the cost account. Are the two different viewpoints clear to you now? Let me show you illustration 2. Cost viewpoints, illustration 2. A partial work breakdown structure of a facility of a certain project. Level 1, facility, hospital. Level 2, contract package. Breaking down hospital to laboratory building, admin building, and so on. Level 3, functional elements. Breaking down laboratory to substructure, shell, and so on. Level 4, sub-element. Breaking down substructure to RC, reinforced concrete below slab, perimeter foundation standard footing, and RC, reinforced concrete slab on field. Can level 4 be broken down? Surely. RC below slab, breaking down to formwork, reinforcing, CIP, cast-in-place concrete, expansion, construction joints, and weatherproofing. Perimeter wall foundation standard footing can be broken down. RC slab on field can be broken down. Showing you constructor's view, all formworks are summed. All reinforcing to weatherproof are summed. Those are level 5 work packages. The level 5 work packages are cost accounts. These are level 6 work items. Now, the owner's view. All work items under RC below slab are summed up. All work items under perimeter foundation wall, standard footing, and RC slab on field are summed up. Then all these level 4 sub-elements are summed up as ECB, elemental cost breakdown, under level 3 substructure. Being clarified on cost viewpoints makes requests for payments easy to process and beneficial to the project. Constructor receives timely payment. Owner's release of monies is according to his cost plan.
Cost viewpoint summary. With level 3 functional element, substructure, excavation, superstructure, exterior walls. Checking on substructure to breakdown. Level 4 functional sub-element, RC slab on field and perimeter foundation, wall standard footing, RC below slab. Checking on RC below slab to breakdown. Level 5 work package, reinforcing, CIP concrete, expansion, construction joints, weatherproof, and formwork. Checking on reinforcing to breakdown. Level 6 work item, composing of labor, materials, equipment, and subcontracts. Level 3 and 4 are the owner's view, elemental cost breakdown. Level 5 and 6 are the constructor's view, cost accounts. Three-way matching prior to payment can be adopted by the owner to ensure that payments are correctly handled. Step 1. Delivery of works. Recognition by authorized receiver. The receiver is identified in the procedure. Step 2. Contract payment schedule. Matching and certification of schedule of values. Check Step 1. Step 3. Payment processing by going through approvals. Check Step 2. After the verification of Steps 1 and 2 and finding no issues, release of payments. Before the release of final payment, there are requisites that constructor comply. Receipt of final yen waivers. Receipt of guarantees and warranties. Punch list items resolved. Claims and back charges closed.
Learning check of Module 3, Part 3, Contract Administration, Continuation. There are sources of forms of contract that can be referenced from. In the contract are most used terminologies which must be fully understood. When administering the contract, work results are monitored and controlled. Expenditures in projects are disbursed according to the contract provisions.